new counsel of record, Ms. Martin. You're on mute. Okay, Ms. Collins.
Yes, Your Honor. We are here for position 5. I'm sorry, we're here for position 6, 5, and 6 on the calendar. It's the Henry Porter matter. That's case number 22J02342, file number 990378882. Position 6 is Skylee Porter. That's case number 23J02105. We're here for a permanency hearing as to the mother only. Present in the courtroom is myself, Attorney Jamila Cox, Division. Also present is Social Services Case Manager Zantrell Harrison. Also present is the Child Advocate Attorney, Denise Billingsley. And also present is the attorney for the mother, Attorney Amy Martin. I'm not sure, is the mother present today?
Yes, the mother is present. Ms. Porter, if you'll show your video, please. Okay. All right, Ms. Martin, your announcement. And you're on mute.
Oh, thank you, Your Honor. I apologize. I am new to the case, so I actually had it down as a review hearing, but I don't really think that changes the status of why we are here at this point.
I'm sorry, what it is a review. I'm sorry, what did you believe today's hearing to be?
Oh, is this a review hearing or is this the permanency hearing, or is it a permanency review?
Permanency review.
Oh, okay, good. Okay. Then I misunderstood. Okay, so yes, at this point, my client has completed the psychological evaluation. She is continuing to do virtual visitation with the two children and is, to my understanding, on track with her services. However, again, I am new to this case. So part of what I wanted to find out today is if there were other parts of the assessment that I need to make sure she is complying with.
So you are ready for the review hearing today?
Yes.
Okay, Ms. Billingsley?
Judge, I'm waiving the presence of the children this morning, and I am ready to proceed.
Okay, and we have Talisha Bowden, who is with the Child Placement Agency. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, all right, Ms. Collins.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, I'd like to call Mr. Zantrell Harrison to the stand. Mr. Harrison, if you could please raise your right hand. Do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I'm so sorry, Mr. Harrison, I can't hear you. Did you say yes?
Yes.
Can you please state your name and place of employment for the record?
Zantrell Harrison, DeKalb, BFACS.
And Mr. Harrison, can you please tell the court what your relationship is to the Porter children matter?
Yes, I'm the current case manager.
And prior to coming to court today, have you had a chance to review your case file or any case notes as it relates to this case?
Yes.
Can you please tell the court what the current permanency plan is?
It's reunification, adoption.
Okay. And where are the children currently placed?
They're placed with Shandur and Carrie Burke. Foster home.
Okay, go ahead, Ms. Collins. You understand the restrictions on the case. Go ahead.
Can you please tell what type of placement the children are placed in?
Yes. The CPA foster home.
Okay. And how are the children doing?
They're doing well. They're thriving, developmentally on target, and happy within their placement.
Okay.
Henry is walking and feeding himself, and while Skylee is still working on potty training, she is very smart and she's doing well in daycare.
At this point in time, are the children receiving any specific services?
Yes, they both are receiving services through Babies Can't Wait, speech and play therapy, twice a month, 30-minute sessions.
Are the children up to date on their medical and dental examinations?
Yes, they are.
Okay. To your knowledge, do the children have any specific medical or dental needs?
No, not to my knowledge.
At this point in time, have you had an opportunity to review the children in their current home?
Yes,
When was the last time you saw the children in the home?
I saw them on Wednesday, January 3rd.
Okay. And when you saw them on January 3rd, were there any issues or concerns in the home?
No, there weren't.
Okay. Is the current placement a prospective, a pre-adoptive home?
Yes,
Okay. At this point in time, has the division conducted a diligent search report for relative resources for the for the
y-
children?
yes,
Okay. And from that report, has the division been able to identify any relative resources outside of the current placement the children are in?
no,
Okay. At this point in time, you previously stated that the current permanency plan is concurrent reunification and adoption. And so the division is offering reunification services to the mother. Is that correct?
yes, that's correct.
Okay. At this point in time, what are mother's outstanding case plan goals?
Yes. We have ASAM level one counseling as well as individual counseling, um, compliance with drug screens. She completed the psychiatric evaluation, um, and then parent aid services.
And I'm sorry, you said parent aid services were completed?
No, they weren't.
They were not.
No.
You said she did complete a psychiatric assessment, correct?
Yes, and from the psychiatric, a psychological was recommended, but that hasn't been completed.
Okay. Were there any other recommendations from the psychiatric assessment that mother has not completed?
Just compliance with individual therapy and I believe medication management.
Okay. So as it relates to the mother's case plan, are there current service authorizations in place for mother to participate in her services?
Yes, they are.
Okay. What service authorizations are in place?
Right, so give me 1 second. So I'm just going to start with the ASAM level one and individual counseling. And so let me back up a little bit. In October, she was with Sprouts Behavioral Therapy for services. And she was discharged on October 20th, 2023, due to the therapist, Ms. Natalia Wright, stating that the sessions presented as negative and there was no progression with Ms. Porter. After that, I made a new referral with Breakthrough Recovery Outreach on November 1st, 2023. The therapist, Joy Rumpf, closed her case on January 2nd, citing difficulty with communicating with Ms. Porter due to her combativeness, refusal to answer the phone, and the continuous accusatory text messages. And then I put in a new referral on yesterday for her therapeutic services, and I'm waiting to see if anyone picks it up. And that was January 9th.
Okay. So there was a new referral that was made for all of her services or just for ASAM counseling and for individual counseling?
Just for ASAM and individual counseling.
Okay. Um, you also stated that she has an outstanding case plan goal of drug screens. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Is there a service authorization available for drug screens?
Yes, there's an active service authorization, and that was completed on January 2nd.
And
and
who
it's
is
still active.
and
That
who's
is
that?
with On-Site Results Laboratory.
And at this point in time, has the division been able to obtain any drug screens for the mother?
Not at this time. The new screener went out on January 4th, but they stated that Miss Porter refused to meet with them.
Prior to the service authorization on January 2nd, were there service authorizations in place for drug screens?
Yes, there was one from July to November 30th with DBA medic exams.
Okay, and were medic exams able to obtain a drug screen for the mother?
No, they weren't. They had a similar experience of refusals.
After November 30th, were there any service authorizations put in place for drug screens?
No, they weren't.
Okay. You also stated that she has outstanding case plan of a psychological. Has the division put a service authorization for a psychological?
Yes, that authorization was put in on October the 23rd of 2023.
And who is that with?
Families in needs of services.
And you previously testified that mother did not complete that assessment. Do you know why?
It was due to scheduling or failure to schedule with Miss Porter. And so it was a back and forth. I think they had the incorrect contact information. So once they received it, they scheduled the evaluation for November 15th, 2023 at 10 a.m. And they reported that the client failed to complete the testing protocol in a timely manner. And so there was email communication back and forth between Ms. Porter and the provider, where she was stating that she had completed it and they were letting her know it hadn't been completed and what to complete. And so I guess it was the constant back and forth, and they reported it as failure to complete in a timely manner.
Are you aware of mother's current housing and employment status?
Yes, she has provided a lease agreement and she is currently unemployed. She's a stay-at-home wife.
And are you aware of how she supports herself?
I'm not.
Is mother currently married?
Yes, she is.
Okay. At this point in time, what are the division's concerns as it relates to the children returning home to the mother?
She has been non-compliant with her services, so we can't really gauge, what her mental health status is, as well as the drug screen. So she's been clean from any drug usage.
You stated that mother was supposed to have medication management, correct?
Yes, I believe that was recommended from the psychiatric.
And what is your understanding of mother and taking medication at this time?
I don't believe she's taking medication at this time. I'm not sure, as she hasn't been seeing a therapist.
When were you?
Objection. This is a
Ma'am, hold on,
HIPAA
Miss Porter, you
objection.
cannot interrupt.
Objection. This is a
You
HIPAA violation. You
I'm
can't
sorry, you
talk of
cannot,
speculating,
Miss
but
Martin, I'm going to ask you to get your
objection.
client under control. Miss Martin, you're on mute.
Ms. Porter, just take notes. I will call you after the hearing, but do not object. Only I can object.
Okay, you may continue.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Harrison, have you had when were you assigned this case?
September 1st of 2023.
And since you've had the case on September 1st of 2023, have you had opportunity to make contact with the mother?
Yes, I have via email.
Okay. And why have you only been able to make contact with the mother by email?
That is the contact standard, and I believe that is her preferred way of contact is through via text or email. So I've never had a verbal conversation with her.
And can you please tell the court how that contact has been with the mother by
Yeah.
email and by text message?
And so most of the responses that I receive is pretty much accusations that the children are being abused, they're being human trafficked, and things like that. We really don't make much progress.
And on your side, what information are you providing the mother by email and by text message?
I'm providing her the information regarding her services, if they are planning on discharging her due to the behavior, just kind of advising her on being compliant. When there's a new authorization being get ready to put in, I'll let her know, okay, this is the authorization and somebody should be contacting you soon. And so to please, answer for them, at least because they are going to try to contact over the phone first. So at that point, I've advised her to contact them or to speak with them over the phone, and then she can let them know that she prefers to communicate via text message or email.
Okay. At this point in time, is the division facilitating visitation?
Visitation was temporarily paused as the foster parents, because they were facilitating the virtual visits in their home. And so as of November the 22nd, the foster parents were no longer comfortable or willing to facilitate virtual visits due to Ms. Porter's behavior and the accusations of abuse. And also in the past, she has recorded the virtual visits and posted them to YouTube. And so that was a HIPAA violation. And so they were no longer comfortable. And so at that time, we were working on the parent aid authorization. That way we can have somebody in place to supervise the visits as well as provide parenting education for Ms. Porter. But they initially had trouble contacting her. And once they did, they had a similar experience of refusals and accusations of human trafficking and abuse. And so they discharged her on January 2nd. And so since then, I have done a new referral for therapeutic services, and we're trying to pursue therapeutic supervision. So once we're assigned, or she's assigned a new therapist, then we can go that route to have the therapist supervise the visits, and they would be in person.
Okay. And so at this point in time, mother's last visit with the children was in November?
Yes.
Okay. And moving forward, the division wishes for the mother to participate in therapeutically supervised visits, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And has the division been able to identify who her therapist would be?
Not at this time. I did the referral on January 9th, and I do believe we've gotten some acceptances. So I need to go in and look to see who was accepted and then have that referral sent directly to them.
All right. Now you did state that there were some concerns as it relates to um, that mom has been making these accusations of human trafficking
Yes.
and some other allegations. Has the
Mhm.
division investigated those allegations that the mother is making?
Yes, we have.
And what was the result of that investigation?
There weren't any, upon visiting the family and also talking to the daycare workers, there weren't any concerns. There weren't any unexplained marks or bruises. The children are very bonded to the foster family, so they're not afraid of them. They're very happy children as well.
And when did the children come into care in custody of the division?
On October 5th, 2022.
I have no further questions for this witness. Thank you, Mr. Harrison.
Okay, Ms. Martin, do you have questions?
Just a couple. I just want to make sure to clarify for my notes. You were saying that back around January there was a therapeutic referral to, it's a breakthrough recovery.
Yes, Breakthrough Recovery, the referral was made on November 1st, and they closed the case on January 2nd.
Okay. Do you know if she was receiving any treatment there between November and January?
No, I believe it was communication issues, so it was them trying to get into contact with her.
Okay. Okay, and same question for the drug screening services. Do you know if the attempts were made or if that was also a communication issue?
So the attempt that I have that was made, it was made with DBA medic exams on October the 23rd, and on January the 2nd, January the 4th with the new provider on-site results laboratory.
Okay, so that's one side. Are they still the current provider?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
And I've also let Ms. Porter, made her aware that the screenings are to be random, so they're more than likely they're not going to call her to schedule it. I do know for the initial ones, they do try to, contact them to make sure they're at home. This is correct phone number, correct address. But after that, the screenings will be random. So they would just come to the home, they'll let her know, they'll call her and go from there.
Okay, all right, thank you. I don't have any more questions.
If they come to my
Okay,
home and I'm not home.
Miss Porter, do not interrupt. Miss Billingsley, do you have questions?
Yes, I do. Good morning, Mr. Harrison. How are you doing?
Good morning, I'm well.
That's good. So I do understand that you're new to this case. Okay, so some of my questions will relate to whether or not you had knowledge of some things that the court's already ordered. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So based on your testimony, it seems that Ms. Porter is actually not in compliance with her case plan right now.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So are you aware that Judge Peagler had previously ordered that the mother had to have supervised visitation because she had absconded with the children during one of her in-person visits?
Yes.
Okay. So are you aware of the conditions that were supposed to be put in place in order for the mother to have in-person visits?
I was believing it was the behavior parent aid to be in place.
Okay. So you're not aware that the mother also had to be in compliance with her case plan?
Oh, yes, I was aware of that. Yes.
Okay.
And that was something that I did state to the provider as well.
Okay. All right. So one of the things that the mother had to do was to submit to the psychiatric evaluation and to follow those recommendations.
Yes.
Okay. So the mother has submitted to the psychiatric evaluation, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. But she has not followed the recommendations from the psychiatric evaluation, correct?
No.
Okay. Okay. All right.
And I'd like to add really quickly the reason for the updated psychological, because she completed the psychological in the past. And so once the psychiatric recommendations came out, the doctor recommended an updated psychological because he stated based on her presentation at the time of the psychiatric, she did not appear to meet the criteria for schizophrenia. And he wanted to make sure that she was being accurately assessed.
Okay. So that's why you put in a referral for a new psychological evaluation, correct?
Yes.
All right. And that's the evaluation that she has not submitted to, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
I don't consent to all of my healthcare information being just blasted. That's just a HIPAA violation. I don't consent. I don't consent. I don't consent.
The new psychological evaluation, was that going to be completed virtually or in person?
Like, you're just ignoring.
It was virtual.
Okay. Do you know if it can, are you going to do a referral for a new psychological or?
I can do a new one.
Okay.
Yes.
Can you require that it be done in person?
Yes, I can.
Okay. And would you also be able to supply the emails and text messages that Ms. Porter has sent to you to the new to whoever's going to do the new psychological?
Yes, I can.
Okay. All right. So I know that you had testified that you all were planning to start in-person visits with mom if you could get a therapist in place, but there are more things that are required than just having a therapist in place for Ms. Porter. So is that still your position? Or were you hoping that she would be in compliance with her case plan and have therapy in place?
Yes.
Okay.
And that was just the route that we were going to go when we, at the point to resume in-person visitation, it would be through a therapeutic supervision versus the behavior aid.
Okay. But your plan was not to start it until she was actually in compliance and
Right, that's
following our
correct.
recommendations. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Is there anything that the mother is actually actively doing with regards to her case plan right now?
No.
Okay. And are the kids receiving any services?
Yes, they're receiving services through Babies Can't Wait, and that's speech and play therapy with Miss Dina Jones.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Harrison. I don't have any other questions for you.
Okay, other questions of him, Ms. Collins?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Martin?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, other evidence, Ms. Collins?
No, Your Honor.
Any evidence, Ms. Martin?
No, Your Honor.
And Ms. Billingsley?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, what is the division's position?
Your Honor, I apologize. My computer just went blank. Now I can't see you guys. Okay, there you are. Your Honor, at this point in time, as it relates to the permanency hearing, I would be asking for the court to make a finding that the children remain dependent and is still contrary to the welfare for the children to return home to the mother at this time. As a testimony that's been provided is that the mother is non-compliant with her case plan goals established for reunification at this point in time. In addition, while the mother has provided a lease for housing, she is without employment to support the children at this point in time. In addition, Your Honor, the case manager did testify as to some troubling behavior that the mother has shown as it relates to her communication with the division and through her communication with visitation with the children. And so as such, I'd ask for the court to continue to make that finding. As it relates to the permanency plan, I'd ask for the permanency plan to continue as concurrent reunification adoption at this time, as that plan is the most appropriate. I'd ask for the court to make a finding that the division has made reasonable efforts to eliminate the need of removal of the children from the home. As such, the case manager did testify as it relates to the service authorizations that have been put in place, as it relates to drug screens, ASAM level 1 counseling, individual counseling, a psychiatric assessment, and as it relates to a psychological and also their visitation. I'd ask for the court to make a finding that the mother has not substantially complied with her permanency plan of reunification, and that it continues to be necessary for the children to remain in their out-of-home placement. I ask for the court to make a finding that the children do have special needs in that they are receiving specific services through Babies Can't Wait. And that visitation at this point in time shall remain the same. Mother does need to continue to be compliant with her case plan goals in order to be offered in-person visitation. But we are asking for visitation to be also therapeutically supervised by her individual therapist as well prior to visitation starting back up. I'd ask for the court to make a finding that physical and legal custody remain with the division and that we come back for a 6-month permanency hearing for the mother.
Okay, Ms. Martin?
Yes, Your Honor, and at this point, I will have my client coordinate to restart her case plans. I would ask that until we can start therapeutic visitation, which I think is a great idea, that some type of virtual visitation resume. Also, I do have to point out that while my client does not have a income of her own, she is married and her spouse does have an income. So I would ask the court not to hold being a stay-at-home wife against her. Other than that, we are just going to continue or restart working the case plan.
Okay, Ms. Billingsley?
Yes, Your Honor. I'd ask that the court find the children remain dependent, that it remains contrary to their welfare to be returned to the mother or either parent. I'd ask that you find that the mother is not in compliance with her reunification case plan. I have no objection to a finding of reasonable efforts. To be honest, I think the division has kind of gone above and beyond in terms of providing service authorizations and referring this mother for services. Um, with regards to visitation, I I think that all the parties have been incredibly lenient in trying to come up with a way to make sure that this mother can see her children. That also being said, it almost seems that people are subjected to verbal abuse when they are, are trying to help her out. So if there's a way for virtual visitation to be put in place that does not involve the foster parents in any manner, then I am fine with that. Um, but anything that would involve them or their home, I do not think that that needs to resume. With regards to the mom's in-person visitations, I just think, I'm going to reiterate, and you've already ordered this, but it's just important that mom is in compliance with her case plan, that she is following the recommendations, and that not only are these supervised by someone appropriate, but that we also go the extra step if we're going to have these in-person visits and we have these staggered drop-off pickup times so that the mom and the children aren't arriving at the same time, aren't leaving at the same time. And again, my recommendation, I think the court actually ordered it last time, is that they're also the mom not bring in any outside food, any outside beverages, that everything that's supplied to the kids will be provided through the foster parents or through the division.